Good afternoon. It's The Bigger Picture and it's Mira Sivasudi. Datin Dr. Hajah Siti Hawa Muhammad is the daughter-in-law of Mydin Muhammad, who's the founder and chairman of Mydin, and she has now written a book documenting the incredible story of the Mydin conglomerate. Now, she will be sharing her personal experiences of being a part of the influential family and speaking about the highs and lows of creating such a successful business. Welcome to the show, Dr. Siti. How are you today?
Good.
Just
Mira?
very well, thank you. Just before we even start, your doctorate is in education, I understand.
Yes.
What prompted that?
Well, I had my first degree in psychology, master's too, and then I wanted to continue my education. And I was lecturing at that time in a local university, so the expected thing to do is to do your PhD in University of Malaya.
All right, fantastic. I mean, you're the wife of one of the Mydin sons, Datuk Haji Amir Ali bin Mydin, who's the managing director of Mydin. How much influence has Mr. Mydin's work, who is the main person behind the Mydin stores, had on your husband?
Okay. A really good question, Mira. Okay.
Mr. Mydin set up the whole conglomerate, didn't he? Yeah.
He set the foundation.
That's right.
Okay, when we talk about Mydin, the values that Mr. Mydin holds on, remember he's from the old school, the conservative school. So the discipline, the hard work, the tenacity, the love for retail, the passion, when we say about failure is not in the vocabulary. So work hard, punctuality, perseverance, love for retail. These have been already in the family because he believes that entrepreneurship is a family life style approach. It comes together. It's not one or the other because you grew up in an environment of business people. So our managing director, Dr. Amir, grew up with these values. And when I joined the family,
When was that? A long time ago?
34 years old.
Wow, okay.
34
and
years
you were very
ago.
young, I'm assuming.
Well, not that young after graduating.
You look very young now.
Thank you, Mira. You do too.
So I can imagine you came into the family really young.
Thank you, but you look young too. So when I joined the family, I think what happened is that these values further enhance what I already have. I'm a happy baby boomer. So I have these values already. So these only enhance and further led to this exciting adventure I've had joining Mydin. I'm so glad I did that 15 years ago full time because it gave me such a journey, an adventure, and the pain and the joy, the growth, the expansion of Mydin, a local company, as you know. Yeah.
You came in as a very young girl, and today you're the human resource director of Mydin. When you first came into the family, I mean, what was it like? I mean, yes, you thrived on the sort of culture that the family had.
Yeah.
But when you came in, I mean, you were fresh.
Right.
Did you go straight?
Right.
Did you dive straight into the business? Or?
Well, when I joined the family, I was doing my own thing. I was a writer. I was lecturing. I was operating my own business. And then the opportunity came later when I was invited to join, and I wanted to try something different. So I was given the challenging, task of human resource.
Right. So, I mean, coming in as the daughter-in-law, were they accepting of you coming in and getting involved in the business?
Yes, they were. Well, as a family business, we do welcome family members who have a passion for retail, who like what we do. And the first thing I did when I joined in was to start a training unit. I said we have to train our employees, whom we call the Mydin extended family. They're like family to us. And there's a word we use called Mydinize.
Oh.
Okay. So if you're Mydinize means you have all these values that we mentioned earlier, and plus you're loyal, you're honest, you come on time, you can live and work long hours, work hard, work smart, weekends, and we're retailers. We don't shop. Our shop don't close, even though it's festival season. Hari Raya kita buka juga, or Christmas or Chinese New Year.
Okay.
So you have to have an interest in retail. So back to this, we started training our people how to communicate, how to service customers. And today we have the Mydin Retail Academy with 14 full-time trainers to train the 10,000 employees.
Right. Mr. Mydin raised his children, 7 children, am I correct? 4 boys and 3 girls.
That's true.
He raised his children the way he was brought up. He was very strict. He didn't spend money unnecessarily. He lived a very simple life. Now, parents are role models to their children, and Dato Amir is, of course, your husband. He would have been brought up in that sort of an environment. Did that upbringing? Did you find it easy getting into a family where that was the upbringing?
Yeah. Yes, it was, because
did you have a similar background as well?
Yes.
Very fortunate.
Okay. But today, if you look, Mira, if you look today, some of them can be a bit more flexible. Take frugality, for example. Okay, and I believe in that, in spending, being thrifty, managing your money, being very careful. Like when you shop, do you really need this item? Is this what you need to buy today, and not buying just what you call it, on impulse. So that is a good quality, I feel, the frugality. And even today, Mr. Mydin, his children, his daughters and sons, and his grandchildren practice this, because we're very particular. Off and on, we go to the stall food, mama, but there are times maybe that Amir might say, the children might say, let's go for Japanese. And as you know, that's pricey. Yep. But we do that once a while. So there's flexibility there. I don't think Mr. Mydin would enjoy it.
But with generations, different generations. I've got kids myself now, and it's difficult. We live in a very materialistic world.
Yes.
When people know you're so-and-so's grandson or granddaughter, they know, you're born into wealth. How do they cope with it, and how do you help them to cope with that?
I think we all agree, as a family, we talk, we meet often, we eat dinner together, we argue together, we criticize and we give feedback. The simple things like, we still take low craft carrier, and I know, I read about other Malaysians, successful people, they still take low craft carrier. Their practice is, if I can buy this cheaper in this store, why should I buy over there? That sense of why should we pay more, which is our tagline, why pay more, buy wholesale price. So and there are many situations when our products, our merchandise, I'll go to another store, it's the same fabric, it's the same cushion, for example, but over there is selling 3 times. So why should I spend more? I can have the savings that I can spend elsewhere on other things.
Have you faced any challenges being as part of the family? With big families like these, and with family businesses going, there are bound to be some challenges. What have they been for you?
Well, relationships, Mira, and with families, with siblings, it's the ingredients of a good relationship is the same thing. If you give the respect, the space, you accept them unconditionally, for what they are. You give them that space, the respect, the communication, how you communicate with them. I think that should be, you get along.
I'm going to quote, somebody told me one day, you can have 7 children, Mira, and bring them all up the same way, but not all 7 of them will be the same.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's the same, with, the Mydins.
Yeah.
Children, for an example, who are not interested in the business.
Yeah.
Are there any who have decided to go their own way?
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you asked this. First and foremost, we're individuals. Whether it's in a marriage, like, my best friend, my spouse, my soulmate, my husband, we're 2 different individuals. You should disagree, and that's okay. And how we work towards, we negotiate, we discuss, we talk, and agree on a consensus decision with the children. Today, I guess it's more challenges. The 7 children will grow up to be 7 different individuals, and you have to respect that. And even you have 2 children, they are 2 different individuals, Mira. Yeah. So you got to accept that And we raising children today, balancing lifestyle and things like that. But I think this book that I wrote is a celebration of the family institution, that it is alive, it is well, and we need that all the more today, because the support system is, it's not like before. You know, when you live in a kampong, everybody knows your kid. Everybody's involved in the raising. It takes a kid, it takes a village to raise a child. But now you're on your own, you live in an apartment, you might not know. But in the Mydin family, what they try to do, all the 4 sons involved in the company, they choose to live near their parents. Dato' Amir's apartment, in a low-rise apartment, is just above his parents by choice, so that he can visit, check the parents. And what do the parents need now? Love is spelled T-I-M-E. They want the time with the grandchildren and with the children. So when you live physically nearby, you get to meet, to talk to them, and just listen. Listen to your parents. Mr. Mydin is 85 years old. He still goes to the shop, you know, on a Sunday sometimes, you know. So it's wonderful.
Okay. When we come back, we'll find out more about the book that Datin Siti has actually written. It's titled Behind the Mydin Heritage. She's sharing her side of the story as being part of the whole Mydin conglomerate. Came in at a very young age into the family. She married Dato' Haji Amir Ali bin Mydin, who's the managing director of Mydin. And she has shared a lot of anecdotes and stories in that book. We'll find out more up next. If you have a question for her, send us a text message. The number is 016-2019-9000 or tweet BFM Radio.
You're listening to BFM 89.9, the business station.
Good afternoon, it's The Bigger Picture and it's Mira Sivasudi. Behind the Mydin Heritage is a book that was authored by Datin Dr. Hajah Siti Hawa Mohd. She's a Human Resource Director of Mydin and author of the book Mydin, The Untold Story. We're trying to find out what happens behind the scenes. Not many of us get to, go behind the scenes and find out what's going on in lovely families like these. We always think it's all hunky-dory and wonderful from the outside, but what really goes on, she's here to share more with us, and she's done that with this book. What prompted you to actually write the book, Datin, The Untold Story? Why did you think it was even, why did you think there was a need to even share it?
Yes, when I joined the company, that was 1998, and that time Mydin was expanding, and it was really exciting because we had just moved into this building called Wisma Mydin, Jalan Masjid, India. Before, that building was United Asian Bank, where we would put our savings in the bank. But we were able, through prudent money management, to save, and we were able to buy the whole building, renovate it. We put a Muslim facade in front and make that our HQ and move in there. So when I joined, I said, oh my goodness, all these exciting events and how they develop the people, the care, the relationship with the employees. So I wanted to write a book about the history of Mydin, and I said I don't want to die with a book in me, So I started collecting pieces, getting stories. This book is actually, do you like stories, Mira?
Very much.
Okay, this book is a compilation of highlights of stories that Mr. Mydin, so I'll sit down with him and try to dig some story, what happened here, his wife, his brothers, his sisters, his children, his grandchildren, his friends, and putting it together. And then those days back in the, it seems so old, 1998, where you take photos and, negatives, you develop them, not like today. So it was only, and then once I get involved with Mydin, there was no time to write. And as a writer, I need to be physically away to focus on the book. So come 2010, I said, I just have to finish this book and get it published. So I focus on it day and night. People say, football, when you're crazy about football, fanatics, eat, sleep, and tidur football. But so I focus on it. I said I must finish it, and praise God, 2011 we launched the book. MPH wanted to print, publish, and launch the book. And if there are any Asuntarians listeners, Sister Anda, our principal, was there to launch the Mydin, the untold story.
She's got a book herself
Yes,
right now.
yes,
Yeah.
I was at her launch.
Hoping to get her on the show.
She's-
Maybe you can help me.
Will do. I'll pick that up, Mira. She's amazing.
For sure, I'd
She'll
love to.
be one interesting character there.
Yes, put a voice behind,
Yeah.
Sister Enda. I heard a
Yeah.
lot about her.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to write? So about 3 years then?
So
4 years?
2 years, I would say that I've been collecting since back 98, but it's only the last 2 years that I've focused. So I gave pieces of it for feedback, for others to comment and all that. And I wanted it to be very simple, very santai, so everybody will read it. School children will read it.
It is
I want
easy
it
to
be
read.
Easy.
That I have to
And then
admit.
it was not possible to express this without the pictures. The black and white pictures, So the pictures were included.
Right.
Yeah.
Any challenges along the way when you were, trying to compile the book? I mean, how did you remember all of it? Would have been quite difficult.
Yeah.
Unless you wrote journals over your life.
No. The challenge was, Mira, when I had to interview, when interview Mr. Mydin, you have to find a time. He's done with his dinner. He's in his TV, and then you.
He wears
get
a
this
pagoda
info.
T-shirt all the time, doesn't he?
He does
Till today?
Oh, the frugality, the simplicity, even today in his apartment, and we live very simple too. Very, very simple. No clutter in the house. The writing desk.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's good. I feel good about living simply, But the only maybe that we spend a bit maybe when traveling, because I love traveling, I love writing, I love reading. And then when you travel, you see, oh my God, Malaysia is a paradise. It's a country of abundance. And we have this diversity, and the food you pay in Malaysian ringgit. When you go overseas, oh my goodness, it's so expensive. Things like that.
We
And
haven't
you
tapped
appreciate it.
In my opinion, we haven't quite tapped that to our full potential. We can do a lot more.
I agree.
With what
I
we
agree.
have. Yeah.
Yes,
We need to appreciate it first.
True. And I think this is what Mr. Mydin, the legacy he will leave us, is that you must believe in yourself, that you can do. The power of one is amazing. Once you believe in yourself, and to believe in yourself, you must love yourself. Mira, you must care yourself, believe in yourself, and then this will shine or be reflected in what you do.
Do you find that's what most people are grappling with today? That we don't believe in ourselves, that we don't love ourselves enough?
Yes, among the books I read, besides, I like Dan Brown's Inferno. I just finished that book. It's really exciting.
You're a big Dan Brown fan.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
But the other books that help me, inspirational books like Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer, Robin Sharma. Okay, these are writers that say the same thing but in a different way. Esther Hicks, and you have Eckhart Tolle. Amazing. So, but you must read it if it doesn't make sense. First, when I read about 15 years ago, it didn't make sense. But now everything is together. I can understand it, and I'm practicing it. To love yourself and then to love others, your community. The staff is just not an employee. It's part of our family. And we like Dato, one of the staff's daughter, a 5-year-old girl. She burnt the abdomen area. So the hospital did skin grafting, and then after that it didn't work, the collagen or something like that. So to find time, and you know how busy we are, to find time, because love is time, to visit this child. Not once, but twice. It's not so much the gift, but the support for the employee.
How's the child doing now?
I think she's doing much better. She's a beautiful, brave, strong girl. Amazing. She'll pull through.
Right. Just to go back, you were discussing challenges while writing the book. You stopped at how you'd go and see Mr. Mydin after his dinner and everything. Now what happens?
You mean to collect
Yes.
And then there's the other members of the family that I have to ask. The sons, the daughters-in-law too. Okay, what happened here when you opened the first shop? The first shop, Mira, can you believe it's a shack? It's a wooden shack. It's still there in Kota Baru, Jalan Post Office, Lama, blue in color. He already envisioned this. Mydin corporate color is blue. So it's an old shack. And then to be able to have a concrete shop, and then with his savings, no bank loans, 22 years later to open the second shop in Terengganu and put his first son there. And then later on, when Dato' Amir came back, Dato' Amir, the father said, come and join us with our...
After studying.
After study, graduation. But Dato' Amir said, let me get some experience outside. And when he got the experience outside, this is what we do with Mydin now. The families, the policy is the children cannot work with Mydin.
Oh, really?
On condition, they go out 5 years, work elsewhere to get the experience, and then you can consider coming in. So this is what we do with our children. You cannot join Mydin now. Work elsewhere, find your calling, what is your vision, your mission, find your passion, what are you strong, your strength, what are you good at.
You're talking about the third generation.
Correct.
Okay.
So we're practicing that, even with our children. You can't. You have to find your calling. What are you good at? And later, you can apply.
Right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And
tough love.
Yeah, and did this come from you as the human resource director of Mydin?
Remember, I said decisions, we discuss, we negotiate, we communicate, and we come together.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever the decision made, there's always one captain. We stand by it, as a family.
And the captain right now would be Dato' Amir? Or does Mr. Mydin still?
Dato' Amir and his brothers. I will put it that way. Because Mr. Mydin has left to his children. And you mentioned about the diamonds. That is another interesting story.
I wanted to ask
book.
you. I'm going to tell you because at the back of the book, what you would read is Mr. Mydin says, "What I do have and what are my greatest wealth are my 4 sons. They are my precious diamonds."
Yeah.
And then I thought there are 3 girls, but there's no mention of those girls.
Okay. Okay. I love this story because he was asked by a reporter. Okay, you've got so many shops. Today Mydin has 200, alhamdulillah. So you have so many shops, and you must have a lot of luxurious bungalows, houses, property, land, cars, etc. And he, with pleasure, he tells the reporter, I don't have any of those. I don't need any of those. And he still lives a very simple lifestyle, Mira, and with the family. Like on a Sundays when he goes in the pool at the apartment where he lives, he waits in the pool, the children jumps in, the grandchildren jumps in. It's a very simple lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Socializing, going for his physio, medical checkup, stuff like that. And I had one situation where when I was sharing about the book with some in a college, and then they asked me, and they said, in your book you say he goes to GH for medication. He does. And I had a difficult time trying to tell that is him with his frugality, discipline, and simple thriftiness. Mm-hmm. Because he's impressed with our GH. Our government hospitals are fine. They're good. The medication are good. And you just get it for very free, So common cough, cold medicine, he takes there. But if he needs to be hospitalized or checked, he will go for private.
So what's happened to the 3 daughters?
The 3 daughters, good question. You want to know about the 3 daughters. The 3 daughters, they are not residing in Malaysia. Mm-hmm. They have married and moved on. But Madam Roshan, Mr. Mydin's wife, mm-hmm. every day they are on the Skype. So that family bond, that communication is still there. Mm-hmm. In fact, I've never seen a family this strong. The bond, the relationship, the one sense of oneness, togetherness, for so many generations, they are very, very close.
Right.
Very, very close.
So he's just saying that Mr. Mydin being, the older generation, and they seem to, recognize the sons a lot more. I see that happening in some families. I'm not going to mention ethnicity here, but
okay.
At least in one ethnicity that I know of,
okay.
the sons seem to have more
yes.
prominence.
Yes.
Fathers and mothers
yes.
sometimes tend to
yes.
respect or acknowledge the sons
yes.
more than the daughters.
Yeah. I don't know, but in my family, we make fun, we make joke about that, because I personally feel that the son and daughters should be given equal opportunity,
always
raised. And I know when I was in universities, the Malaysian male they don't know how to do washing or cooking. You see, the basics you still need to know. So I think we should change there if that's what we're doing.
How have you brought up your sons, Datin?
Okay.
It's an interrogation session now.
Yeah, looks like it. I had a feeling you're going to ask me that.
I love it.
Okay.
I mean, you're just sharing your...
When we we get together, let me just mention about going for movies. Sometimes we go for movies as a family, and then our son will say, I know Mama is going to say, now if I were the director, this is made by a man, Or even when you design buildings, you get so conscious because you're a user. Like when we designed my kitchen, I said, because I'm the user, I know where the stove should be, where the sink is, because I'm a user. But when a man designs it, it becomes different. Then you say, the bathroom is the same thing. I am the user. This is where I put my makeup. This is where I put my stuff. So back to raising family, we try to make them aware about it, and we discuss about it, and they can see that, well, we should not give preference or extra attention, to a particular, to the male in this case. I think that's what you're referring to.
The 4 diamonds.
The 4 diamonds.
Yeah,
but Mr. Mydin, even though he also encourages the daughters to pursue, and the daughters are working overseas in their own career.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Independent woman.
Sure, I'm sure. You write about your first big disagreement with Dato Amir Ali as husband and wife. In the book, when he decided to skip both your master's graduation ceremonies in California and fly back to Malaysia to start you came back to Malaysia to just start a new job. To make up for that he was not able to take you for your graduation. He took you on a short holiday to Mexico. Now you relate this, how he approaches business leadership and the conflicts that would arise, in future years. Do you think this is a strength? I would have been really upset. I would have wanted to go for my graduation.
Yeah. Well, he's also human. Okay. So when we're not here to be popular or to win an election, but we're here to make decisions, important decisions that have repercussions in the future. We're here to lead the company, to lead the staff. So you're going to be very unpopular when you make some of the decisions. But there's the human aspect of him, that he can reprimand you, but then later on he knows how to talk you and make you see, rationalizes that was a tough one to do, but you see the bigger picture. Yeah, and he's a man of he loves to surprise people. Okay, so there's a story when one of our branches in Kuantan had a birthday party, and he wanted to go, but he said, don't tell them I'm coming.
Right.
So he took the plane and he went and he joined, and they were extremely happy about that. And on a personal level, because I know you're going to keep asking me personal questions, he loves the surprises. Okay. I can go for a meeting or a course or outstation or even appointment with a doctor. Don't be surprised, he'll be after the appointment, he's out there waiting.
Right.
Surprise. And these are little things that we, as a spouse, as a soulmate, we appreciate. Back to what I said, love is spelled as Time. Yeah.
And
quality time.
Sure. In terms of decision making, how do the both of you manage that?
Yeah.
Is it a collective thing, or is it always a business decision at the end of the day?
Okay. Lots of time we just talk and we listen to each other, we communicate, we negotiate. It's two individuals trying to come with a decision that is best overall. So sometimes it can be agree to disagree. Sometimes we agree on the decision. We talked about it, we discuss it, we negotiate.
Right.
Yeah. And
well, not many people have that sort of relationship anymore. It's getting tougher and tougher to maintain relationships.
Yes.
And it goes back to communication as well.
Yes.
Are you saying you established this from day one?
I think so.
Very important.
Yeah. You might have your version of what is the ingredients of a relationship, but I think these are among the ingredients that are important, that you need to communicate, listen, and when you love somebody very much, your soulmate, he or she comes first. and then when they reciprocate, because this is the relationship, they're happy, they're comfortable, they love the person, that person matters, they come first.
Okay. It was a pleasure having you on, Datin. I'm not going
Likewise.
to I'm not going to interrogate you anymore, especially if your husband's listening in right now. It's like she's talking about
Hi.
me. So you can actually grab a copy of the book. It's titled Mydin, the Untold Story. It is available at major bookstores, Datin.
Correct.
Am I
In
correct?
all our stores and MPH and Popular, and you want to mention that's been nominated
Yes,
again?
it has been nominated
Yes.
for a number of awards.
With humility, and we're so honored. We're so happy to be here, actually, Mira.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What are these awards?
This award is called the Popular Reader's Choice 2013 Award.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we have been nominated among the 10 Malaysian books written by Malaysian authors under non-fiction. Yeah. To be so readers are supposed to vote for this. Okay.
How do we
Yeah.
do that?
Well, there's forms from MPH that you need to fill.
Mhm.
Yeah, take the book, and then you can also SMS.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much does it cost?
The book.
Mhm.
Okay, it's very reasonable.
I can imagine, and I'm not surprised.
As a writer, with all the hard work, I would want more, to because books nowadays, even a paperback is like 60, 50, and we have good books in KL. I love going there, and my son's, for his birthday, he says, "Ma, my present, let's go to this bookstore, a particular bookstore, okay, in KLCC. I think you know where."
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so he bought his presents there. He chose
Yeah.
what he wanted
So
to buy.
how much is it?
The English version is 14.90,
Right.
Why pay more?
40.90.
Yeah.
40 ringgit 90 cents.
14 ringgit, and the Malay version is
14
12.90.
ringgit.
Yes, Mira. Why pay more? That's our tagline.
It is, and you live
Yeah.
it, don't you?
Yes. You should be having a dozen and give it away.
Yes,
Yeah.
14 ringgit
Yeah.
90 cents is all it's
Yeah.
going to cost you to get a
Yes.
copy of Mydin, the Untold Story. With me, of course, author Datin Dr. Hajah Siti Hawa, who is also the Human Resource Director of Mydin. Thank you very much for having you on the show.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And this is the Bigger Picture BFM 89.9.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. To find more great interviews, go to bfm.my or find us on iTunes. BFM 89.9, the business station.